version on it, so it's got the Duramax engine, Allison transmission, the 6-passenger seating. It picks up infrared, got a ton of light for them set up. Dual isolating, quick disconnect, slant back, H1 Hummer. Welcome back to another vlog. Ryan Wilson here from Predator Inc. Appreciate you guys watching. So today I've got a really cool truck for you. Behind me is a 2000 H1 Hummer, but it's a little unique because of this. Check this out. Full slant back H1 Hummer. So as you can see, you have the full slant back that comes back down here. The hatch and the whole back is radiused, which is different from the aftermarket kits that are out there. The aftermarket kits bolt onto a 4-door hardtop, and then I've seen some guys cut out the center area, the bulkhead in there, to kind of open that up and emulate this whole slant back design. However, this truck has the real slant back with this radius on here, and came out as a 2000 model Hummer and was supposed to be released with the rest of the 2000s. However, they had some production problems, and that also coincides with why there's only 40 of these out in the marketplace. And they eventually got them released as a late 2000 model Hummer, so almost into 2001. So the reason why there's only 40, and also with that number is kind of suspect, because I've heard rumors, and maybe they're just rumors, but I've heard rumors that one or two of them were held back by the factory. I'm not certain about that, but the original official number was 40 units. However, AM General outsourced this slant back piece here, as well as these pods on the side, to a company out of California, and they had nothing but problems as far as sealing them up. The production quality just wasn't there, and they kept on kind of going back and forth trying to get these things to fit, and ultimately they did get them to fit. Took a lot of work to get them fitted properly, and that's ultimately why they stopped producing those. They had some issues with fitment. Looking at this truck, you can see the fitment isn't perfect. The door actually comes up a little bit, but to be honest with you, I don't care. This thing's just a cool truck. So let me open this thing up and we'll take a look inside of it. So inside here, you can see the full pass-through. It's pretty cool because you can keep all your cargo stuff inside. However, it is definitely not as useful as a wagon. You lose that whole roof at the top coming back here, all the cargo space on top of what would be the slant back area, and you also lose a lot of cargo space back here. I know that I've camped back in the back of a wagon many nights where I have a piece of wood going across here, and I'm able to sleep up there. It's a little bit tight, and I did wake up a few times and kind of lift my head up and hit my head on the ceiling, but it does work. So with this truck, that wouldn't work. You're losing a lot of space there, but you're trading it off for such a cool vehicle. So there's a little history on this truck. So let's go up to the front and take a look at it. So this truck came to us about 2.5 years ago. We did a whole Duramax conversion on it. So it's got the Duramax engine, Allison transmission. Where's the cameraman going? Completely professional vlog here, folks. So let's take a look inside the engine bay. I want to show you the Duramax engine and kind of show you what's going on here. All right, so we've got the Duramax conversion in here with the Allison 1000 transmission. Puts out around 500 horsepower and about 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. Really, really runs well in this truck. And fuel economy with this setup is probably around 17 to 19 miles per gallon or so. And some of the trucks with a little less equipment, like the light bar up here or roof rack, you can definitely see numbers upwards of 20 miles per gallon, which is incredible out of these trucks. So this truck came in with a charging issue. Well, it turned out to be a charging issue, and we initially thought it was a transmission issue. The transmission was doing some erratic shifting and hard shifts, soft shifts, you name it, it was doing it. So the thing about the Allison transmission is it's very dependent on a really good power supply. It needs above 12 volts or so of power. Anything less than that, it starts to do some erratic stuff. So we took a look at the charging system, the batteries, and found the alternator was failing. The original alternator that was on here that we put on a couple years ago was putting out around, the high side, almost 12 volts, and the low side was around 10 volts, kind of fluctuating up and down. Pulled that out, put in a new one, charged up the batteries, and it's running like a top now. So that's what he's in here for. Hopefully we can do a paint job on this. Truck definitely needs a paint job to clean it all up. But overall, just a beautiful truck. Inside's just dialed. It looks amazing inside. Let me go ahead and close the hood and we can do a walk around. I'll kind of show you what we've done to the outside and then we'll get into the inside. All right, so on the outside of the truck, obviously you can see we had the Viper front winch bumper. This is probably one of my favorite setups because it's all blacked out. These are aluminum plates in here as well as this top plate, all blacked out with rigid lights. And then we have the D-ring brush guard. And again, the D-ring brush guard and the Viper winch bumper were kind of meant to go hand in hand. It's integrated, the mounts are fully integrated inside here. It has rubber stops on it, so when you do open it up, it folds forward and stops out on rubber stops, so it's not going to scratch your brush guard. And then we've got the rigid light up here. I think that's a 20 rigid. And then we do have FLIR on here. So this is cool because it gives you infrared or heat signatures. So as you're going through the desert or maybe the mountains and you've got a bunch of trees, it'll pick up heat signatures in the bushes, possibly a deer is about to cross in front of you, and give you that kind of pre-warning with this system. So definitely cool little system on it. And then we've got our simulated beadlock rims, as well as the dual isolating quick disconnect CTIS system. Up here we have our double stack light bar, so just a ton of light. This gentleman lives out in the desert, so we've got a ton of light for him set up on it. And then we have the low profile roof rack. This goes vertical right here, where later on, I think a few years later, we came out with a search and rescue roof rack. The primary difference is the angle. It comes out a little bit more of an angle here, gives you a little bit bigger load up on top of the truck, and we also throw an additional mount in here. So there's a total of 4 mounts on a 6-foot roof rack, and then on the 10-foot search and rescue, we've got an extra set of mounts, one on each side. And then up on the decking, I'm not sure if you can see this, Jason, but that texture right there, we did like a bed liner texture on the roof, and I should say the slats for the roof rack. And that gives it a lot of texture for walking around up there, throwing a load up. So we can do that. You can also go with the textured black, but this customer decided to go with the bed liner material, which gives them a little bit more texture to it. And then coming back here, what's really unique about this truck is the ladder system. So we did 2 full ladders coming up the back. You can unbolt them and dismount them if you want to. On this one, we have 2 Rotopack mounts here. So Rotopacks aren't installed right now, but you can put a total of 4 Rotopacks on this slant back, which looks really cool going down the road and gives you a little bit more range too if you need it. And then coming into the rear winch bumper, this is the 16,500 pound Warren winch integrated into it. And we did this, again, it's like 2.5 years ago or so. Powder coat is holding up phenomenally well. And then we go with the texture black. Reason for that is it gives a factory match to the side mirrors, but secondarily, you can scratch this stuff up and it doesn't show. So I can walk up here multiple times, it's not gonna show any scratches at all. It's gonna look brand new afterwards. So that's primarily why we run this color. And then we have the integrated rigid lights. All right, so we're inside the Hummer, relatively stock overall. So we've got the stock stereo system in here. This is the old Monsoon system, has a little Hummer logo up on the top here. It's printed on there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's kind of funny because back in the day, My truck didn't have that monsoon system, and I wanted it so bad. I vividly remember that. And not to say that this thing sounds great, it really doesn't sound that amazing, but at the time that was the best of the best that came out from the factory. Then you got your 6-disc changer over here, which is probably completely useless nowadays. So what we did was we actually went through the whole truck and just rewrapped everything in leather. Overall, really original, clean interior, just rewrapped and cleaned up. You got the original rear auxiliary seat from the factory, which is kind of funny because, I mean, look at how little room there is. That's almost maybe 5 inches if I'm pushing it. Probably close to 4 inches, but could you imagine putting your feet up here, or your legs? You really can't. If you're gonna sit up here, which an adult can't, you're gonna have to hang your legs over here. Even my kids, there's no way they'd fit in here. So, and that's also why we came out with a auxiliary seat that sits a lot lower. I think it's about 3 inches or so lower. So that gives you 3 inches more headroom because you are sitting lower. It also sits back a few more inches. So not a whole lot of room here unless you get in like the 6-passenger seating, where we have all of this area cut out here. It's kind of the best you can do with just an auxiliary seat is upgrade this thing to our auxiliary seat that's a little bit lower and farther back. But one thing you should shoot, Jason, is the rear view visibility in a slant back is almost non-existent. It's horrible. There's no point to even looking back there. Like, I can't see, the only thing I could see off this rear view mirror would be like a semi truck that's parked right behind me. Otherwise, I'm not seeing anything. So that's definitely probably a very good reason to get a backup camera on this truck. But we try to keep it original and like a very clean, just kind of updated look in this truck. And I think we did a good job. Thanks for watching, folks. I definitely enjoyed showing one of my favorite trucks off to you, 2000 Slantback. Such a cool vehicle. And coming up on one of the next vlogs is this truck. Kind of cool. It is a 1999 H1 soft top, fly yellow, and it only has 35,000 miles and it's coming up for sale. So we're gonna do a little bit of cleanup, go through it all mechanically, make sure it's 100%, and then it's going up for sale in the next couple weeks. So maybe next week or a week after, hopefully sooner, but we've got a huge workload. Until then, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. See you soon.